there's anyone on, then I'll promote them so they can participate. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let me know if you want to begin, and I will unmute the Zoom.
Okay, folks. 7 o'clock.
They just made it.
Silence. Can we start? Good evening. My name is Robert Winograd. I've been a resident of the town of Medfield for 34 years now. I live at 30 Hatters Hill Road. In the month of June, Medfield will be introducing a new program open to all town residents and businesses called MCE, Medfield Community Electricity. This is a community choice aggregation program, also known as a municipal aggregation program. This evening's agenda will speak to a brief history behind development of this program, a presentation speaking to its options and how Medfield residents and business may take advantage of the program or choose to opt out of it. Final section of this evening's program will be a Q&A. Speaking to history, in our 2021 Medfield Town Meeting, we as a community voted to investigate the community choice aggregation program offering for the town. A program like those launched or being launched by more than 170 of 351 cities and towns in this state. Of all residents in Massachusetts today, 47% are supplied electricity through an aggregation program, and that percentage is increasing. With authorization given in the 2021 town meeting to investigate an aggregation program, a committee was assembled reporting to the select board. There are 3 members of this committee: myself, Megan Sullivan, who is with us this evening. Megan has been very active, contributed town programs, engaged with Medfield Energy Committee, Medfield Environment Action, Sustainable Medfield, Medfield's Recycling Committee. The 3rd member is Gus Murphy, also here with us today. Gus, as many know, is a select board member in our town, and I could go on listing the many activities he's been engaged with over the course of many years here in Medfield, including much to do with the Warren Committee.
People refer to that as mission more than activity, but
okay. With our aggregation committee in place, we chose through a competitive process, Good Energy, to be our consultants on our journey. A company very experienced and locally and nationally with implementing aggregation programs. Good Energy has 60 current active clients in Massachusetts as we speak here now. The process of the last 3 years has been one of developing a plan detailing town objectives and plan offerings that would conform with regulations and guidance provided and overseen by Massachusetts DOER, which is Department of Energy Resources, and DPU, the Department of Public Utilities. Adhering to regulations, our plan was approved by the Select Board and advertised to the community at large for input through 2 open town meetings and through our town's MCE, that's Medfield Community Electricity, MCE website. In summary, all plan content has recognized community input and has undergone DOER and DPU scrutiny. Fast forward to January this year. DPU gave us final authorization to move ahead with our plan, meaning time to see bids from a select group of suppliers for our program. The supplier selected is Direct Energy, a prominent and respected player in the aggregation industry and financially sound. Direct Energy services 24 city and town aggregation programs in Massachusetts today, including those in Boston, Cambridge, Newton, Watertown, Worcester, and our own neighbor here to Medfield, the town of Westwood. Bottom line about community choice aggregation programs, they are vetted and they are regulated. For those of you who have seen recent Globe articles on Sunday, March 31st, and again this past week on April 15th, regarding mail solicitations being made by companies offering cheap energy alternatives to Eversource Basic, not all of them are vetted as community choice aggregation programs are vetted. With this history in place, let me introduce Rachel Ferdinand, who's going to be coming up here in just a moment. Rachel is Medfield's project manager from Good Energy. She has helped launch a half-dozen municipal aggregation programs like ours, and she manages customer support for Good Energy. Rachel will lead tonight's presentation with support from her colleague John O'Rourke, who is with us tonight. John has led dozens of Massachusetts communities through the process of developing their aggregation plans and comes with a deep knowledge of the rules and regulations that guide these programs. On hand virtually with us also is Patrick Roach, Director of Innovation for the New England region at Good Energy. Patrick has worked with Medfield since we began our aggregation journey in 2021. Rachel's going to be coming up here right now to give the formal presentation. I ask that you please hold questions until we open our Q&A session after Rachel's presentation. If you're online right now, you should have the ability to put in a question online. And Brittany, who's with us tonight, will be monitoring the online site. Rachel, the baton is passed.
Thank you so much. As you said, I'm Rachel Ferdinand. I work with Good Energy, which is the consultant that the town has chosen to help manage the program. And with that, let's just jump right into it so we can get some of these details out of the way.
It's not good.
With that, let's jump right into it. So what is even the purpose of a program like this? That's probably the first question many people have. And so this is a way of the town providing an alternate supply to Eversource basic service. And so this is a program that only affects the supply portion of your Eversource bill. But when the town was looking to start this program up, they really wanted to be able to incorporate more renewable energy as well as stable pricing for Medfield residents and businesses. And so although I do have to say, I can't guarantee that the prices in the program will always be below Eversource. Historically, we do see savings over the course of the program, but due to the way that Eversource changes their pricing every 6 months, as you're probably well aware, we just don't know what their prices are going to be in the future, so we can't speak to how our prices will compare. And so I think Bob mentioned that Medfield has chosen Direct Energy as the supplier for the program. Again, they are a national company, they're a Fortune 500 company, so we do feel very confident in their ability to serve Medfield's needs. The program is going to start in a couple of months in June, and these prices that we're going to get into shortly are fixed for 30 months, so until December 2026. And so let's talk about what's actually going to change on your bill with this program. Like I mentioned, it's only going to change the supply portion. I'll show you exactly what that's going to look like on your bill, but everything else is going to remain the same. You'll only see the name of the program and the rate of the program reflected on your bill. And so you can see here we have a little mocked up bill. And so you can see underneath that blue section where it says supply, right now it's going to say either Eversource basic service, or if you've chosen a different supplier, it will say that company. And so that will change, as well as that other section down there. You can see where it says your electric supplier, and that has like the detailed information, including the address. The rest of your bill is going to stay the same. So that includes the delivery portion of the bill. You will continue to just get one bill from Eversource. You're not going to get a second bill. Again, it's just going to be the supplier that changes and the rate of the program product should you choose to enroll. If you receive any credits currently, solar, any sort of net metering, low income discounts, those also continue to remain the same with the program. They apply to your bill just as they would with Eversource basic service. So we do have another marked up bill here. So everything that we circle, this also stays the same on the bill. So I know a lot of people have questions about those extra charges underneath your delivery service. Those will remain the same in this program. And again, at the top, you can see there's delivery services, other credits as well. So again, those solar credits, net metering, low income discounts, those sort of programs, those also stay the same on your bill. So let's jump right into what your options are going to be should you choose to enroll in the program. And we'll start with the standard product, which is what we have outlined here in black. And we have that outlined because that is going to be the community default. So if you're eligible for automatic enrollment, which is something else we'll get into shortly, this will be the program product that you're enrolled in come June. And so this is kind of a win-win product so far as those goals that we talked about that the town has. It provides a price that is, very competitive to Eversource basic service, as well as 10% additional renewable energy on top of what the state currently requires. However, if you're somebody who's looking to make more of an impact in the renewable energy sector, you can opt up into the Medfield 100 product. So that is going to actually take your electricity supply and make it 100% total renewable. So all of your electricity will come from renewable energy. And then if that's not something you're interested in, if you're looking more so to maximize your savings out of this program, you could opt down into the Medfield basic option. And so that option is not going to add any additional renewable energy. It's going to meet the current state requirements, but that is going to give you the most competitive price. You can see here it is, 5 cents lower than the current Eversource basic service price, which is very exciting. We are very excited that actually all of the program products will be lower than Eversource basic service when we launch in June, which is something we're very excited to be able to offer to residents and businesses of the town. And again, I do have to let you know that these savings can't be guaranteed just because of the way that Eversource changes their pricing. But again, we do see savings over the term typically of these programs. So I mentioned additional renewable energy a few times in here. So I just want to talk about exactly what that means and what those are going to look like in the program. So the additional renewable energy in the program will all come from Class 1 sources. And so those are kind of the gold standard in terms of renewable sources throughout the region. So they're all in region, so in New England, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island mainly actually, but we do also have some New Hampshire sources as well. That's mainly going to be wind and solar. So that's mainly where the additional renewable comes from. But we can get more into the details of that at the end of the presentation if you guys have any more questions. And so if you are looking to participate in the program, it's going to look a little bit differently based on who you have as your supplier right now. If you don't want to participate in the program, you can always opt out. There's never going to be a fee associated with that, whether you choose to opt out now before the program starts or after the program has already started. You can opt out at any time, no fee. So to determine exactly who your supplier is, this is just another sort of marked up bill we have here. So it's those same two sections that you can take a look at to see exactly what company is listed as your supplier. If you do see Eversource listed as your supplier, you are on basic service, and that is going to be the majority of the people in the program. Unless you've chosen somebody else, which you usually would already know, you're going to be on Eversource basic service. And so let's start with those customers because, again, that's going to be the bulk of the town. So if you are on Eversource basic service, you are eligible for automatic enrollment. And so what that basically means is if you don't do anything, if you receive that letter, don't take any action, you're going to be enrolled in the standard product come June. And so you should have received a letter explaining all of this with some more details about the program. If you didn't receive a letter and you think you should have, we can also talk about that after this presentation. But again, Eversource basic service, you're eligible. If you don't do anything, you'll be in come June. If you don't want to be in the program and you did receive that letter, May 15th is going to be your do or die date in terms of not being in the program at all. So in that letter you received, there's a little postcard that you can fill out and send back. We'll get into the other ways you can opt out. But if you do get that done by May 15th, you will not see the program reflected on your bill at any point. And again, there's no fee ever to opt out of this program. You can still continue to opt out after May 15th. It just means that you might see the program on your bill for a month before you get dropped back to basic service. And so these are your options to opt out of the program, as well as choose a different program product. So to opt out, if you did receive that letter, there's going to be a postage card on there. It's already paid. We have a beautiful example right here. There's the postage already paid. All you need to do is fill it out and confirm your information. Send that back to the supplier, Direct Energy, and you'll be opted out. You can also call Direct Energy. Their phone number is up there. You can also check out the form on the website. That also goes to the supplier, and that can opt you out as well. If you do want to be in the program, but you do want to enroll in a different product, either that basic or the 100 product, you can also go online, same website, electricity.medfield.net. We have an enroll and change form there. And you can also call the supplier, Direct Energy, directly. Their phone number is there. It's all the materials you got, and they can also help you change your product. And so let's move on to customers that are using their own supplier. This really is a very, very small percentage of people in the town. And again, you should probably know if you've already chosen your own supplier, but if you need to confirm, just look at that supply section on your bill. But if you are using somebody other than Eversource Basic Service, you can still join the program. You just are going to have to do it affirmatively. So you're going to have to opt in. And so you can opt in using those same methods that we just discussed, either online or by calling the supplier. But what I do like to stress is that if you are going to join the program, you should check with your supplier about your contract, because although there won't be a fee to join the Medfield program, there might be a fee should you try to leave your contract early. There are sometimes early termination fees that these suppliers will levy, so it's a good idea to check. If you are looking to join the program and you do want to go online or call the supplier, you don't have to contact your old supplier. By opting into the program, it will automatically terminate your old contract. And so this is a question that we always get once we're starting this program up. How come I'm just hearing about this now? It seems pretty sprung on me, having the time to make this decision, which is a totally fair and valid question, of course. But we do just want to highlight some of the measures that Medfield has been taking to really get the word out there and make sure people know what's going on. Social media really has been a huge one, and we have Megan over here who's been really leading the charge on some of that. But in addition to all of this, if you guys have any other ideas where, we might be able to meet other residents, let us know. We'd love to reach out. We have plenty of materials that we can share. But this is, just some of the work that we've done in the 2 months leading up to launch. The state does require that we do at least 30 days of outreach, but, the town really wants to make sure that we're doing more than that as much as possible. So this is, just some of the stuff that we have going on, but we'd love to get more done if we can. And one last thing we want to emphasize before we get into the Q&A, this is something Bob did touch on in his introduction, is that this program is different than the third-party suppliers that you may have gotten solicitations from, or you may have read about in some of the recent Globe articles. The main difference between this program and those third-party supplier contracts is that with us, with Good Energy, and with the buying power of the whole town, the town is able to negotiate better contract terms. So that means things like no price changes without advance notice, which is what we're talking about when we talk about that 30-month fixed rate for almost 3 years. We're going to have the same prices You'll never see anything change. There'll be no surprises on your bill with that. No hidden fees associated with the program. When we're talking about those strong contract terms, we're talking about the ability to opt out without any fees as well. And same thing, being able to join whenever you want. But that's really the main difference between the town's program and these third-party suppliers. The town has vetted this program. It's a town-sponsored and offered program. So there are these extra protections in place that really takes the pressure off of you to make sure that no one's taking advantage of you. But with that, I'd love to get into Q&A with you guys. This is just some more of that contact information that we discussed earlier. But I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions on Zoom, and Stefano has already answered them, but for the folks in the room, I want to make sure that everyone knows the answers. So one is, are you automatically enrolled, or do you need to activate enrollment?
Okay, so the question was, I think the camera should have picked that up. So are you automatically enrolled, or do you have to activate your own enrollment? So that goes back to what we discussed earlier. It's based on your supplier. For the vast majority of people, you don't have to activate your enrollment. You will be automatically enrolled if you receive that letter, if you're on basic service.
I'm in an apartment. Does that affect? Can my neighbors have Eversource on and go through this program?
Yep, as long as
Rachel, do you want to just repeat it just for the owl?
Yes,
Thank you
of
so much.
So the question was, for people in apartments, can you opt into the program and your neighbors remain on Eversource? And the answer is yes. It's based on the electricity account. So unless for some reason you're sharing an account with your neighbors, you'll be able to make the decision for your electricity account.
I have a couple of questions. I think the first one's pretty basic. If the power goes out, I'm used to calling Eversource. Sounds like I still do that.
Yep. So for people online, the question is, if the power goes out, who do I call? And the answer is it's still going to be Eversource. They're still going to maintain poles and wires, outages. If you have questions about storms and stuff, that's still going to be Eversource.
My other question's on the renewables aspect of it. So the state is mandating or requiring what the percentage of renewable energy sources are for Eversource or your guys' supply. I'm not sure what the incremental class 1 sources are that you're using beyond what Eversource is going to use. Is there any knowledge that Eversource won't do the same things you guys will do in the next couple of years, or is there a differentiator there?
Yeah, so the question is, what's the difference between the if I'm, correct me if I repeat this wrong, but what is the difference between the mandated renewables from the state that Eversource is fulfilling and the additional renewable that we're adding on? And who's to say that Eversource won't do that in the future? And the answer is they just probably won't. I can't actually say that they definitely won't, but Medfield has chosen to add the additional 10% because it's not mandated by the state and because they can choose to support more renewables in the area. Another thing is Eversource doesn't necessarily draw from only these in-region renewable sources. Class 1 RECs can also technically come from some New York and Canadian sources as well. The Medfield's additional renewable don't draw from those sources.
Okay, so where do the additional renewable sources come from for us?
So the additional in the Medfield program are going to be coming from Massachusetts and Rhode Island mainly, and there are some places in New Hampshire as well.
And what kind of things? Is it hydroelectric? Is it solar? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, so it is all of the above. It is mainly wind and solar though.
Patrick, I think, had something to say. Let me just stop sharing.
Yeah.
So we can see his face.
Thanks,
Oops.
Good energy. Just wanted to add to what Rachel was saying. Just back to what will Eversource do in the future. So what's important is Eversource, the basic service, will only do what the state requires. They will always just do the minimum the state requires. And what's important to note is that the state should change what their minimum is. Medfield supplier will always be adding that additional 10% on top of whatever the state is during the term of the contract. So Medfield standard will always be 10% clear. And also just wanted to add too, in terms of where the sources are, when Rachel mentioned there's some hydro. The only type of hydro that qualifies is class 1 low impact hydro. So that's not like the large scale Canadian hydro. It is generally small ponds and dams that already exist that are being continuously powered or repowered, but we're not, none of that hydro is flooding new valleys or anything like that. It's low impact.
I would have liked to have we put on a closed caption for this.
Yeah, I can repeat the beginning of that. So basically, Eversource is only ever going to meet what the state minimums are. And the 10% that Medfield adds is always going to be in addition to whatever the basic requirement is. So right now that's 62%. Next year it'll be 63%. So this year standard product is going to be 72%. Next year it'll be 73%. And then for the 100% product, that's always just going to fill the gap between what the state requires and, you know, what brings us to 100.
Thanks.
So online, will someone monitor the prices after the duration period, or is this something I should do on my own?
Great question. Again, that's one of the benefits of this program. You don't need to monitor those prices on your own. We, as a consultant, and in conjunction with Medfield, will be monitoring those prices. So as we approach the end of the contract term, Medfield will choose to go out to bid again. They can, you know, stick with the same supplier direct, or they can choose somebody new based on where market conditions are. But again, one of the benefits of the program is we can choose these suppliers that are able to go and buy electricity at more opportune times than, you know, your Eversource can. So that does translate into those better prices that we see in the program. But no, you don't have to monitor the prices on your own. We'll do that for you. And before any price change, we will have at least 30 days, similar to this, of advance notice, getting those prices out there and making sure everybody knows what changes are to come should they decide they want to leave the program.
If we wanted to leave the program, say a year from now, is it still that 800 number you call?
Yep. Yeah, so the question was, if you want to leave the program, you know, say in a year from now, would it still be the same number that was on the screen? The answer is yes, it would still be that number on the screen. We would still use the online form, and there is an email that I can give you.
The MCB website,
Yes,
always on page, always be referenced to this information.
yes, it's very true. Electricity.medfield.net. You can always go on the website. We're going to have all of the contact up there all of the time as well.
You get to that website through the town website. Town website points to.
Yes, the town website does have a space on the main page that you can get to that website, electricity.medfield.net. Straight from the town website, it will bring you right to the program website.
So this pops up with that a little bit. You said there's no fee to opt out at any particular point. Say I don't sign up for it now, but I sign up for in a year. Is there an opt-in fee later?
Yep. So the question is there going to be an opt-in fee later? And the answer is no. So what I can say is if you choose to opt out of the program and then later opt back in, the supplier can technically offer you a market rate. We don't see that happen for residential customers. That's a clause that's really for larger scale industrial customers where, you know, an outside load is really going to affect the program.
Another question online, under this program, who will be providing the energy delivery and who will be reading the power meter for billing purposes and net metering?
Yep. So that is still going to be Eversource. Eversource will always be doing your delivery. They're always going to be the ones maintaining those poles and wires. They're going to be who you always call in terms of an outage, and they are still going to be doing those meter reads. Your meter read will not change. The only thing that will change is the supplier that you see on the bill.
For those who have solar, how is this affected?
So this does not affect those who have solar. The same credits that you get on your bill right now with Eversource, you'll get if you join the program as well.
Will Eversource prioritize those using Eversource Supply over MCE for repairs?
The answer is, you guys will. Sorry.
Yes.
No, Eversource will not prioritize Eversource basic service customers over those on MCE. Eversource has to remain neutral in these cases. They also don't have a vested interest in who you get your supply from. They don't make money off of supply fees anyway.
Yeah.
So I have two more, and they get more gradually pointed, I guess. So bear with me a little bit on it. So for the supply and the delivery, right? If you're in this program, you get the supply from the program, and the delivery is from Eversource. So if I'm cutting Eversource out of that component of it, do they end up having to raise their fees for the delivery component of it to support what they already do? Because they don't have enough money to go back and forth, or are those separate things?
Those are separate things. So whoever the supply comes from, it really doesn't matter. It's on the supplier to get the power onto the grid. So Eversource doesn't affect Eversource in terms of, is it going to be harder for them to like pull from this supplier? There's no difference.
And then I guess the last question is more directed to the town, people that make the decision here. If the benefits of this program are self-evident, why wasn't this like an opt-in thing? You publicize that this is the program and you sign up for it, as opposed to you have to actively opt out of it if I am suspicious of it or have concern of it.
Yep. So for those who might not have heard the question is, if the benefits of the program seem to be self-evident, why is this not an opt-in program? Why is it an opt-out program? And it's actually because the state statute that allows towns and cities in Massachusetts to run these programs actually specifically stipulates that it is an opt-out program. And that's so that towns and cities will be able to really attract suppliers to give them a competitive rate. If it's an opt-in program, it's hard to kind of come with a solid number to really get people to bid.
Right, and yeah, so it is kind of state mandated anyway.
Yeah.
But you asked, this is a town question, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to get over here. Because I think on this committee that I'm on, I was the one who started off as the skeptic. I had the exact same question. If it's such a good deal, why doesn't it opt in? And if anybody knows about default decisions and how you can drive behavior by causing the default to go one way or the other, that's where I was coming from. Should be opt-in. Megan actually, I think, gets credit for reaching out to me and saying, well, Gus, actually, this program, as it's gone out so far with all these towns, the opt-out, the default with opt-out is people wind up in a better spot than they would have been if they hadn't done anything. So what you saw from the rates was Eversource basic rates are 17 plus cents per kilowatt hour. The worst rate, if you want to go to 100%, is 14 plus rates per kilowatt hour. For that reason, I said, okay, as long as the default condition leaves people better off, then I'm okay with the opt-out. Now that doesn't mean you don't have to watch it downstream, because as Rachel mentioned, those rates can change every 6 months with Eversource. But just so you know, I was right where you were when we started, and I got sold on this because we're actually leaving people better off. If they allow themselves to be defaulted to this, they're better off by, 3 cents, 4 cents kilowatt hour. So I'm okay with opt-out under those conditions.
And it also sounds like there's a little bit of a brass tacks thing that you have to put in place to make sure that they can work. So you can predict that there's, say, 5,000 customers in Medfield, and 80%, because you've already made it as an opt-out program.
That still wouldn't have sold me if it didn't leave people better off.
That's what
But
I'm
yeah,
saying. But that's,
right,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
I'm not happy about that aspect of it, so that's what I'm saying.
I have a different point of view. I think opt-out is great because you have to do something. You're in the program unless you actually know what you're talking about and you've decided that this isn't any good for you. So I think having us be in it, unless I decide, which I'm not going to mail my card, I think you'll get a broader number of households because they don't have to do anything.
They
very easy.
Yes, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to be in the program or not be in the program. Yes.
You opt in or out as many times as you want, or is there a limit?
There is no limit, so.
Do you want to repeat the question, please?
Yes, so the question was, can you opt in or out as many times as you want? The answer is yes, there really is no limit, so if you want to try to go for a record of opting in and out, you could. Yeah, really, anytime you want to leave, you can leave, anytime you want to go, you can go.
Okay, and then I have another question. I'm on the Eversource Basic, but I'm on the fixed rate.
Yep.
And there's also a variable rate.
Yes.
If I opt out and go back to Eversource, do I end up back on the fixed rate, or do I go to the variable rate?
Patrick, if you want to help me out with this one, as far as I know, you would go back to the fixed.
Did you hear it?
Go back to
Okay.
the fixed rate, yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Yep, you would always go back to the fixed rate, correct? The fixed basic service rate.
If you opt for Medfield Basic, which has no voluntary renewable energy, you'd still be paying, but you're still paying that on your Eversource portion of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, so if you opt for the basic rate, you will still be paying that on your same Eversource bill. That will include the standard delivery that you already received.
Is there a reason that we should care that the supply is coming from local sources versus sources in New York or Canada that were mentioned?
So that really, to some degree, comes down to what's important to you. For some customers, the renewable aspect is very important. It's nice to be able to have a program that can offer an outsized impact on renewable at a price that is better than what you can usually get on your own. But not necessarily, no, if you don't necessarily care about renewable sources in the region, I can't tell you that you should. But it's just one of the reasons that the town decided to go with the program that it did.
Yeah, and Rachel, I would just add to that is that like the town is trying to keep the benefits of the additional renewable energy as close to home as possible, which is supporting the clean energy economy and jobs, as well as cleaner air. So trying to keep it as close to Medfield as possible has some benefits.
Just wanted to thank the town government for being smart and doing something that clearly benefits the whole community. So, thank you.
Yes, I would thank the committee here, the members of the committee for that as well.
Yes. For
Megan wants that repeated, yes.
For everybody online, we just had a gentleman in the audience here thanking our committee, thanking the town for offering this program that can benefit all Medfield residents.
In the same time, if we can opt in on a fixed rate that is better right there, we'll all opt into this program.
How do you get paid? Meaning, I believe the consultant in energy, and how does your supplier get paid?
So actually, Patrick, I think I might have you take this one.
Yeah, I'll be happy to take it. And can folks hear me in the room?
Yes.
Great, yeah. So again, so everyone, as Rachel said, you still pay your bill to Eversource. So Eversource collects all the money, and then they send the supplier the portion of money that is due to them. And in our contract as a consultant with the town, we have a set fee per kilowatt hour, and it was disclosed on the letter that went out. And that's in all of the prices. And so effectively Eversource collects all the money when you pay your bill. They give the supplier their portion, and then the supplier gives us our portion. So there's no money coming in or out of the town budget for this program.
Will any of the wind energy come from windmills on the south side of Cape Cod? Patrick did answer this online as well.
Yeah, I'll take that up. So all of the offshore wind energy that is being in development, that comes through, so the short answer is no, because all of the offshore wind energy is being done through state procurement. So they're led by either Massachusetts or Rhode Island or New York or Connecticut. And as part of those contracts, the state requires that all of the renewable energy actually goes to the utility companies. So we are sort of unlikely to at least directly purchase that.
Is the program commitment by the consumer transferred automatically after a real estate transaction? I think someone, yes.
Yeah, so the way the program commitment works is based on account number. And generally, if you are transferring ownership of a property, or even if you're a renter and you've moved out and a new renter is coming in, Eversource is going to give you a new account number. They're going to close the old account number, open the new one. So effectively, the participation in the program does not run with a property, it runs with an account number. And so if you sell your home or a new tenant moves in, they'll have a new account number, and that person can either proactively go on to the Medfield website and sign up, or periodically we will send new customers, new account numbers, a similar letter like we've just sent out for the launch. And it'll say, you'll be automatically enrolled in about 30 days unless you take action, so that the town will have this way to get new accounts back into the program.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm gonna do Medfield Standard. Depending on things, I can later do Medfield 100.
Yeah, so the question was if I'm going to choose to be in Medfield Standard now, depending on what happens in the future, can I choose to go to Medfield 100? The answer is yes, you can choose to opt out or opt down at any time.
Another question online, can you still set up payment plans?
Yes. So any sort of payment plans that you do with the utility right now with Eversource will still be in play if you choose to be in the program.
I think you've kind of answered this, but can you join in 6 months?
Yep, you can join in 6 months if you so choose.
What is basic and other? So maybe, do you want to go back to, let's see.
The next one.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to just go through the 3 plans again, maybe?
Yeah, so Medfield Basic is going to be the option that doesn't add any additional renewable energy. That is going to be the most price competitive. So you can see here that has a 12-cent rate. That's an optional product, so you won't be automatically enrolled in that one. If you did want to enroll in it, you would have to go on the website or call the supplier. Medfield Standard, that is going to be the community default, so that's the one you will be automatically enrolled in if you so choose to be in the program and you got that letter. So you don't need to take any action to be in that Medfield Standard. That option does add the 10% additional renewable energy, and those are those class 1 RECs, those are the in-region renewable sources. And then Medfield 100, that's our third option. That's going to be your 100% product, so that's 100% total renewable energy, and that is going to be the most expensive option. But again, all 3 of the options at launch are going to be lower than Eversource basic service.
Just go back to this.
Did this get mailed out to everyone in the town?
Yep. So if you were on basic service and you would be eligible for automatic enrollment, those were mailed out to all of the accounts in the town.
Okay, isn't everyone on basic service?
So not everybody's on basic service. The vast majority of customers are on basic service, but there are some people in the town who have chosen a different supplier already.
Oh.
So if you've chosen your supplier, you're not you're not eligible for automatic enrollment. It's not gonna, you know, overtake your choice that you've already made.
And just sometimes we do get questions. People say, well, why didn't you send a letter at least notifying those people who are with a competitive supplier? And the simple reason is that the state law that authorizes the programs, it only authorizes the utility to give the town the data, the mailing data for the people who are on basic service. So we just don't have the mailing data for the other customers. So we, you know, trying through all those ways Rachel highlighted to just get the word out to other folks if they want to join.
We have 2 more questions online. If people drop Eversource, won't Eversource drop their prices? And this was answered online as well. If someone, I don't know if Patrick wants to take this one as well.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that. So I want to talk about both parts of the bill. So the answer is no. But on the delivery portion, that's the portion Eversource will still and always do. They get their rates, their prices approved by the state's Department of Public Utilities. And that price that they have is the same for everyone, no matter who their supplier is. It's just independent of your supplier. So if you're a residential customer, your delivery rate from National Grid is the same whether you're in Medfield or, you know, in a different town. So they can't change the delivery rates on you. And then on the supply side, sometimes, yeah, we do get that question. Well, maybe Eversource will like drop the supply price. So Eversource, as part of their required procurement, they have a procurement plan that they follow for how they procure supply. And that's approved and regulated by the Department of Public Utilities as well. And it's just a regular procurement schedule. So they buy twice a year for about 50% of the power they need, and they buy pretty much on the same day, you know, every year, no matter what's happening in the market. So they really can't deviate from the procurement schedule that they have, and they also have to offer the same basic service price to all of their residential customers. So they couldn't just do something different in Medfield.
More, Patrick, for you. As more towns do this, will rates go up and will negotiating become more difficult?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I think what's first important to say is that Medfield was starting this at a time where already 170 other cities and towns have programs like this that are active. And that includes big cities like Worcester and Boston. So actually, if we look at it right now today, about 47% of residential customers in Massachusetts get their electricity supply through an aggregation program like Medfield's. Only 38%, I believe, get their electricity supply from basic service. So we're already sort of at kind of past this tipping point where more residential customers are getting power from aggregation programs rather than basic service. And so I think, yeah, Medfield's shown that, you know, already at this level, you know, you're able to get a very competitive price. So no, we don't foresee more communities doing this negatively impacting the price in the future.
So we got one more. Why did Medfield choose standard to launch this program and not basic?
Yeah, so that is a very valid question. Of course, people were like, why would you not go with the cheapest option? It's really because the goals of this program are twofold. It is both to support that renewable energy as well as those price savings. And so we found that Medfield, the town, found that standard option really plays both roles, and that it is a very competitive rate with Eversource basic service, but it does also include that additional renewable energy, which is, again, another part of the goals of this program for the town.
Yeah, and I'm sure it might be great to hear from the town too, but I would just add too, if you want, if you check out the Medfield website, there's a calculator. You could put in your monthly kilowatt hours, and you can see what the total monthly bill for your supply would be in each of the program options, as well as with Eversource. And I think what's really interesting is if you put in, kind of maybe an average, maybe 500 kilowatt hours a month, that Medfield standard option is about $65 a month. And that Medfield basic, right, going down, no extra renewable energy, it's about $63 a month. So it's, I think by the town setting Medfield standard as their default, it's really not adding too much cost, but across the whole town, that extra 10% renewables will add up to a really big purchase of additional renewable energy. So I just wanted to add a little more color to that kind of win-win that Rachel was talking about.
And then a couple questions is, will this be available, this presentation be available, and the slideshow be available? And yes to both. They will be both posted on our website, on the electricity website as well, and available for everyone. It's being live streamed to YouTube, so it'll be easy you can just search on YouTube for this event as well, and you should find the recording, but it will be on our website as well.
And I assume it will also be at the center on Wednesday?
Yes.
See, I read this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to come? You could come up here and present to everyone.
Yeah, I know. This you don't want to do? This you want to find out about?
There is another event on May 1st at 10:30 at the center at Medfield.
Oh, no. Well, I won't be here anyway. I'll be at a funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry. But this is again available online for everyone to watch if they can't make the May 1st event as well.
Is that all the questions?
That's all.
There was one slide that I promised some people.
Yeah.
I was commenting on
One.
Facebook, and that's the, Devon's experience.
Yes. Yeah. So we do have a slide for those of you who are not seeing all the chatter on Zoom. We have a slide that has a price comparison between the Dedham program, the Dedham aggregation program,
23, I believe it is.
which has been running since 2016. 2016. And they also have some additional renewable in their standard products. So this is just a chart to show you the difference between Eversource basic service and the Dedham standard product. So you can see that green line is the Dedham product. You can see how stable those prices were, even with the varying prices of that Eversource basic service. And one of the great things that these programs are able to offer is you can see that huge spike in 2023. Even when conditions were very volatile and we saw a huge spike from Eversource basic service, the program prices stayed the exact same. So there were huge savings in that kind of time of volatility. That's not always what's going on in the energy market, but should it come to pass again, you can rest assured that the program will have stable pricing.
I think it's just
And Rachel, I was just one of the.
Yeah, go ahead. Patrick, you can go ahead.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say one other thing too, as we get to wrap up, is it might be a great idea for everyone, just to check that supply section of your bill. Sometimes people have been enrolled and you might not even know. We do. It does sound surprising, but people can get signed up with third-party suppliers sometimes by surprise. So it can be a great idea just to check that bill. This can be a good moment in time to go check that bill. Make sure your supplier is what you think it is, and if it's not, maybe get into the program.
And Rachel, one other question that I raised is that there's a habit that many people have of taking mail and throwing it in the wastebasket, without fully realizing what the contents of the mail are. If individuals, residents have in fact thrown these documents away, how can they get this information? And how can they obviously include the opt-out question?
Yeah. So the question was, if you are somebody who may have received the letter but might have thrown it away, you're not sure exactly, where can you find this information? And it's all available on the website. So that electricity.medfield.net. Again, you can go to the town website and navigate to the program website. But the letter is available online. The only thing that you're not gonna find online that you would have gotten in the mail is the opt-out postcard. So if you were looking to opt out, there is an opt-out form online as well. And then the enroll form is also on that same website.
I did not receive the letter, but I did get the postcard.
Okay. We can
Does
talk
that make
about
a
that.
difference? I can use the online letter.
Yes, yeah, we can, it's gonna be the same as what you would have gotten in the mail, but we can talk about that after.
Thank you.
We do just have someone that raised their hand. I just want to make sure they did answer or ask a question in the Q&A, but I do want to just make sure they don't have something that they can't type in there. So, Cruz, if you are there and would like to answer or ask a question, you can unmute yourself, and you're able to do so now.
Hi. I believe you did answer the questions. I did look up the different rates, and that's what I was concerned about. But I asked about basic and other options, so that you did supply that information, and then it was discussed verbally. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have questions?
All right.
Rachel, thank you very much. And thank you for all who are online
Thank you
today.
for
And
doing
we
this.
look forward to a wonderful launch in Medfield TV.
Yes, we're looking forward to a great launch coming up in a couple of months. If you have any other questions, you can go on the website, you can contact us, and we'd be happy to help you out.
And we appreciate everyone from Good Energy who's with us tonight, who's been part of our team over the last few months. Thank you so very much. And for the last few years.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.